Hey, what's happening? Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I've had to redo this video. Let me give you a little background first on the story. Yesterday, I came across this story yesterday, right after I initially downloaded yesterday's video about Marjorie Taylor Greene. About a half hour later, I came. This story broke big in Connecticut. This is a big story in Connecticut. And I actually made a video yesterday after I had already downloaded my primary video, and I didn't download it because when I download two videos right next to each other, they tend to both get less views. And I still haven't figured out the theory or the logistics behind this, but I waited to download it. Okay, when I rewatched that video this morning before I was set to download it, it was a little too angry and threatening to download. So I'm remaking this video right now, and I don't like doing that because I love catching a story when it comes out nice and fresh. I'm kind of, a lot of my, I'm kind of proud of the fact that I get up at 2 a.m. and I get a lot of these stories right when they come out overnight. And I hate waiting like this, but I decided to remake this video. What is this story about? It's about a 48-year-old Caucasian man, and there's a reason I'm saying he's Caucasian. Jameson Chapman from Deep River, Connecticut. Deep River is about 30 miles from here. It's a small town. I'm guessing here, I didn't look it up, probably around 10,000, maybe less people, probably less. And an 11-year-old boy. Okay, this is the story, the links, the video, the actual video from this will be down below. Everybody in Connecticut's probably heard this story by now, but if you're from the rest of the country, it probably hasn't gotten out there yet. Okay, this 11-year-old boy who is African American was riding his bike with his friend on Main Street in Deep River. His friend accidentally bumps into 48-year-old Jameson Chapman. And this is where the video starts. You see, it might be the friend of this 11-year-old boy that's actually recording this. I think it is. And Jameson Chapman, you see Jameson Chapman actually ask this little boy, were you born in Connecticut? Do you live here? Then get out. And then the boy says, no. Then it's, get out of my town. So this 48-year-old Jameson Chapman is interrogating this 11-year-old kid, Caucasian, 48-year-old man, 11-year-old African American. Well, he's I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's Caucasian and African American because his mother was on TV later. It's in the videos down below, but that's neither here nor there. And he then pushes the 11-year-old, 48-year-old man, pushes the 11-year-old off the bike onto the ground. All right. So this is what the story is about. Yesterday, I was so ticked off when I saw this. Like I said, I made a video. When I watched the video this morning, I decided not to download it. It was just too threatening. I veered way off course. Let me tell you guys this. I don't bring up the fact, you guys that watch my channel often, you guys know I don't bring up the fact about being Native American. I might bring it up once or twice a month, maybe. This is what I think of when I see, I'm going to assume, I think safely, that this is a Trump supporter. Because of this mentality of my land, my town, my country, this whole MAGA thing, and somehow because this child looks different, he doesn't belong there. That he belongs in the inner city, the ghetto. Because come on, let's face it, that's exactly what Jameson Chapman's saying. Let me say this too. I'm gonna put a link down below. I found another story from just not even 2 months ago, from Deep River again. The welcome sign to Deep River right around Memorial Day was vandalized with ethnic slurs. It says, welcome to Deep River. And there's ethnic slurs about African Americans and Spanish Americans on that sign. I'll put a screenshot of that up probably on the thumbnail too. And sadly, I don't think, I highly doubt it's just this one individual. It's probably, honestly, I was wondering how I was going to approach this, because yesterday's video, I got very upset, and I wanted to approach this from a different angle. And like I said, the first thing that pops into my head is the whole Native American experience. and having the Native Americans having been here for thousands of years, and then I see somebody like Jameson Chapman telling other people to get out of it's his town, to get out of his town, his land, his property, his country. And man, that ticks me off. Not to mention the fact that Jameson Chapman is a huge coward. Would he have done this if this was say this was the 11-year-old's father? If I say it was father and his uncle, it was two guys, two grown men riding bikes. Would you think Jameson Chapman would have taken the same course of action? Hell no, no way, absolutely not. Jameson Chapman is a bigoted coward. I actually looked up the bike trails in Deep River yesterday. I was very upset yesterday. I would love to talk to Jameson Chapman or any like-thinking folks. Okay, so the way I decided to go with this, I just started thinking of this city that I moved to. I'm going to tell you guys the city I live in, Bristol, Connecticut. It's about 60 or 70,000 people. I came from a small town, a couple towns over, of about 7,000 people, a town similar to Deep River, where I lived and born and grew up. And I was kind of hesitant to move to the city. The reason I was hesitant was because I'm a recovering addict, and it tends to be easier to get the substances that I was addicted to in the city. That's the main reason. But I was unfamiliar with the city. I grew up in the woods. Let me tell you guys this. This is by far the friendliest city the friendliest place I've ever lived. Just yesterday, I got the lease. I've been here for a year, and I got the lease. It's a 2-year lease, and I am going to sign this without, initially I thought, well, I'll move to the city. Like I said, this is Bristol, Connecticut. It's home of ESPN. It's home of the oldest amusement park in America, Lake Compounds. And initially, I thought, well, I'll move back to the small town, later, and maybe after a year here, once the housing crisis breaks down. Now, I am happy to stay here. This is one of the friendliest places. This is the friendliest place I have ever lived. On every walk, on every bike ride, people actually say hello to me. People actually stop and let me go by. I'm so not used to this when I'm on my bike that I'm weary. I'll tell you what I mean here. The town I used to live in, this small town of 7,000 people, I don't know if it's because the houses are sparse and far apart, but these people claim to be, MAGA, Make America Great Again, but they come across as very suspicious and angry and judging. And I almost nobody would let me ride my bike. People would sooner run me over with their car coming out of Dunkin' Donuts or CVS or whatever. So I would always stop when I saw a car coming towards to come into the road where I'm riding. Here, I stop and the people tell me to go, and I'm still too scared to go. So I say, "No, you go." And then the guy in the car goes, "No, you go." And we sit there and keep, because I'm so weary. Every single time this happens, people say hello to me on the street here every day. Let me tell you this. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I ride my bike up the same street every day. And I saw this African-American guy out there cutting wood. It's a big company, and there's huge piles of wood. And this is the business. They sell firewood. And he'd be out there on the machine splitting wood. And I would go by every day. And we'd see each other. And we started waving to each other. Now, because of what happened growing up, I'm kind of weary. I'm standoffish when it comes to relationships, being friends with other men. I'm very suspicious. But I started waving to this guy. And we started talking to each other. And I've actually made friends here in this town. I love this town. After a year here, it is so much friendlier. The town I moved from is where they had to stop the steel rally that I posted on my channel here. I'm bringing this all up because of Jameson Chapman telling this kid to go back, or to get out of his town, his little town, and kind of insinuating to go back to the city or the ghetto or wherever he thinks somebody like this child belongs. And let me tell you this: I think I'm happy. I'm proud to live in a city now with multicultural, friendly, and trusting. I would choose to live here than in Deep River or any of these mega small towns in Connecticut. All right, the links are down below. I'm sorry if I skipped around this video. I've made it about 3 times now. All the links are down below in the video. You guys have a great Friday.